New app icons are just a bit boring, especially game ones. But what happens if you decide to make them realistic? Well, you don't have to wonder anymore. I've made 3 app icons realistic, with the 3rd icon making me want to quit. I know people were unhappy with my version of my realistic singing monsters last time, so hopefully this lives up to your standards. So to make this as accurate as possible, I'll be selecting the pixels of the original monster to get the shape of him. I'm just going to quickly refine the edge of it so that all the fur is selecting properly. Okay, and with that done, I can add the realistic fur. Let's rotate it around. Enlarge it so it can fit the whole body, and clip it onto the body. Now for those luscious lips, I've found these ones to transplant onto him. I've only selected the best of the best for him. I'm going to start by cutting out the top lip. So I'm using Puppet Warp to get those lips in the right shape. And let's quickly get through the second lip as well. So he has this ring around his eye. So let's add that ring, and I'm going to make it the same color as the original. To make sure the eye is the right shape, I'm selecting the pixels and contracting them so that it's the right shape. Oh, I think I'm also going to expand the mask slightly up here to get a sense of depth. I'm going to color it in black for the time being. Here's some skin. Let's clip that in and blend it. For some more realism, I'm going to go ahead and add some shadows under the eyes. And under this first lip. Okay, so to make this as realistic as possible, I'm going to need to use a real throat. I'm going to need to change the perspective. Okay, that's good. He's going to need some fresh new teeth, so let's cut out these front ones first and plant them just around here. Now it wouldn't be a mouth without the top teeth, so let's cut these out. And I'd like to warp them to match the curve of the mouth. I've found this beautiful eye, so let's stretch this into place. And clip it. I'm sure you don't want me to explain what I'm doing for the other eye, so let's just skip the explaining for this one. His eyes are yellow, so let's introduce some yellow into these eyes. His mouth is very bright, so I'm going to ever so slightly lower the exposure. Perfect. He looks like he's just had his teeth done in Turkey, so I'm just going to add a little bit of yellowing to him. And with a slightly darker brush, I'm going to add some dark stains. I also want to try and add more depth in his throat, so with it selected, I'm just going to lower the exposure. I should also feather it a little. Perfect. Let's add a slight shadow on the right side of his body. I'm nearly finished, I think. All I want to do now is add some highlights at the top of the lip and shadows on the other side. And let's repeat this on the other lip. Okay, that's looking good. Oh, and the final thing to do is bring the end of the speech bubble up. I'm obviously going to need a grandma for the granny app. So let's borrow this one's face. I'm just going to select and mask around the front of her face. And now I need some new eyes because these aren't evil enough. Here's an eye with no eye, which is perfect. I'm just going to cut it out. So now I can place it on top of hers. That looks good, but I'm going to have to feather it a little so that it blends in a bit better. And obviously we don't want Granny to be one-eyed, so let's copy this over and flip it to the other side. The perspective is a little off, so I'm just going to quickly change that. Now for the mouth. I hope this isn't gruesome for you. But let's place this over here, and just change the perspective a little too. For the remainder of the body, I'm going to use this person, as it kind of looks like the granny from the icon. With both of them lining up, I'm going to merge them both together. So this should give it some nice continuity. Perfect. You can see the skin looks like it's actually joined now. Okay, let's bring back the eyes and mouth and see how that looks. Cool, it all comes together nicely. Let's bring in a spooky background. And let's blur it to give it some depth. Okay, now for the color grading, I'm just matching her with the same colors from the original. I need that pale kind of look. For the shadows, I don't want to do anything too special, just some over here where the light is getting blocked. To be honest, it is quite a dark room, so I might as well put some more shadows on the other side too. Those eyes are a little too pure at the moment, so let's give her 10 years worth of eye strain on either side of her eyes. Perfect, she's looking far scarier now. I'm gonna add some dark shadows under her eyes. I'm actually quite happy with this icon. As a finishing touch, I'm going to turn down the saturation of the skin, and I'm done. I'm pretty sure everyone at some point has played Talking Tom, so to start off, I'm going to need some cat fur. He's got this white patch in his mouth area, so what I'm going to do is just increase the lightness of this area. Okay, this should be light enough, and let's feather that. Okay, moving on to the eyes. I found some green ones, so let's also cut these out. You can see the eyes are rounded on the bottom here, and to match it with Tom's actual eyes, I'm going to flip it. Let's move this over here. And to match the shape a little more, I'm gonna warp the edges. Let's move this over here. Perfect, and let's duplicate this to the other side. This is slightly disturbing. The eyes just make it so much weirder. Anyways, he's gonna need a nose. As you can see, it's not exactly the right size, so once I've feathered it, I'm gonna have to stretch it out. Okay, that should be enough. Let's have a look and see what it looks like. I don't like that. That must be one of the worst things I have ever created. Maybe adding his smile can fix this nightmare of an image? Let's just cut it out and put it over here. You know what I think? I may as well just quit photoshopping.